Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Today, on this episode of the All Around Growth podcast, we are going to get into an after-action review of my appointment today with the Department of Functional Medicine at the Cleveland Clinic, as well as my trip to the city. I am here at the gas station back in town, headed home. I thought about doing something a little bit longer on the way home from the city, but I will expand on reasons why I did not do that as we get into the recording on the way home. First and foremost, this was my first trip to the city in about 6 months. When I say the city, I mean the city of Cleveland. I had been up there earlier in the year to regroup with my neurologist after an increase in seizure activity. My appointment was in the morning, and as soon as I left the doctor's office, I promptly left the city. Today was a little bit different. I was up there all day, and before I get into the actual lab work and the 3 different doctors that I met with today, I just want to share some thoughts on the city. I ended up driving around a little bit just to do some sightseeing, see my grandpa's old office building down near Terminal Tower, get some lunch down in what used to be called Chinatown, now called Asia Town, and otherwise known as the International District in other cities in the name of inclusiveness. But when I was downtown, especially near Terminal Tower, which is the town center, if you will, it's not quite like it used to be. There are areas that are unkempt. The landscaping is not taken care of. There seems to be an increase in homelessness and garbage everywhere. It's just not the way that I remember it, and it was a little bit disappointing, to say the least. Now, when I got there this morning, I first met with the doctor, Michael Siciliano, and we just got right into it. He made it very clear that his ideas with regard to gut health were remove, repair, replace, the 3 R's. We want to remove and get rid of the things that are not serving us or are hurting or harming us, repair the damage, and replace bacteria and things like that with good bacteria, since we are looking at removing the bad bacteria and such. We covered a lot of things, and it turns out that I will be having some hormonal and adrenal stress tests with my saliva. We will be doing a pretty comprehensive fecal exam. I did not expect to be walking away from this appointment crapping in a box, but this is how we learn with specificity what's going on with our digestive system and our gastrointestinal system. He also set me up with a supplement protocol, which I can outline and shed light on in the Telegram group, t.me/allaroundgrowth. I don't quite have the time to get into that now. Maybe I will also do so in a future episode. And there's a lot of homework to do. While I've got some things on my to-do list and some protocols and procedures to follow, I can't really engage in much of this until I get some of these stool samples and saliva samples taken care of, in addition to the comprehensive panel of lab work done. I have never had as much blood drawn in my life as I had today. And I took a picture of all the vials. There must have been 24 of them. At the most, I've probably had 6 or 7 vials of blood drawn in the past for whatever it was that I was getting work done on or checked out, but this was over the top. That was the second part of the procedure. After the visit with Dr. Siciliano, I will be engaging in an elimination diet, a grain-free elimination diet, and that is pretty intense. I'll be doing that for about 6 to 8 weeks at some point when I put it all together and do my homework, so to speak. I've got a follow-up appointment with him in December, and he also suggested that I work with a counselor who is very involved with the functional medicine department at the Cleveland Clinic, and that was something that I did not expect to be doing or anticipate to be suggested, but perhaps with all of the stressors that are going on in life right now, re-engaging in that behavior is probably not a bad idea. It is something that I used to do in the past, see a counselor, and it's not something I've done in the past couple of years because I feel pretty good, like I've got a pretty good handle on things. And the reality is, I probably have the same feeling as though, the same handle on things as I did a few years ago when I was seeing the counselor. But the difference is I have more going on in life, and I'm likely putting some of the stressors that caused me to go to this counselor or therapist in the past, I'm likely masking some of that with all of the activity that I am involved with. Volunteer work, work within the community, things of that nature. Now, after I went and got my labs done and had a lengthy conversation with the person in there who was actually drawing the blood about his experiences with functional medicine, I saw an individual, I presume a doctor, who will be serving as my health coach. And he talked about the 4 pillars of health, in his opinion: nutrition, movement, sleep, and stress. And the big 2 that he and the functional medicine department focuses on are nutrition and stress. And that is excellent because the current health coach that I am working with got me thinking about talking about and acting on stress, which was not something I expected to be working with or thinking about and discussing with a health coach. And if you're interested in a health coach, but not really quite at a point where you want to explore functional medicine yet, let me know. Yvette is an excellent health coach. I've really enjoyed the experience working with her, and I would highly recommend anyone who is interested in naturopathy, health coaching, and just improving your health and wellness to hit me up and talk about, inquire about my experience with Yvette, and I'll give you her details if interested. Now, one of the other things that Kevin told me about with health coaching is that it's not necessarily prescriptive, but it's more patient-led, and that was not something that I was really expecting to hear. So we're kind of in the information gathering stage at this point in the game. So my meeting with him was brief. It was really just an introductory meeting, and after getting acquainted with him, I went ahead and met with the nutritionist, and her name was Catherine. And there was another individual in there as well, as we sort of got the lowdown on nutrition in sort of a group setting. We were both, or are both, suggested to follow the grain-free elimination diet, and with the nutritional aspect of functional medicine, we are really talking about, functional nutrition. And that is healthful eating personalized to your genetics, lifestyle, environment, and health concerns. And we are going to have after visit summaries from the health coach, the nutritionist, as well as the doctor. And what's interesting is the resources on this elimination diet are comprehensive, and the elimination diet includes a lot of things that I didn't think would be items that I would be removing from my diet. For example, beef, pork, and eggs. But lamb is okay. Chicken, poultry, all of that's okay. And even bison, elk, that's okay. And I inquired, why beef? Why lamb? Even if the beef is grass-fed and grass-finished? And apparently there is a type of protein, and it's the protein structure, if I'm not mistaken, that is a little different in beef than other red meats, other ruminant red meats. And that has something to do with also has something to do with the protein structure, or the dairy, and why we are eliminating dairy as well. No grains, no corn, but some grains in their seed form are okay, like quinoa, wild rice is okay. It's really a whole foods diet. We won't be counting calories. We won't be tracking macros. We won't really be doing a lot of the things that I am accustomed to doing with regard to diet, other than eliminating certain foods from my diet and following some basic guidelines on what to eat, and more specifically what not to eat. I've been advised to cut out alcohol and caffeine as well. Maybe a small amount of alcohol is okay, but apparently the frequency and quantity with which I am consuming alcohol is to be curtailed. So this is something that I was expecting, especially with the alcohol use, but some of the foods that are to be eliminated for a 6 to 8 week period and then reintegrated with monitoring, some of those foods, that's not really what I was expecting. So the long and short of it is, with this functional medicine, how do I conclude this? Let's see, Cody's out here, Mike's out cutting the grass. We got a lot of activity on the farm today, and hopefully I will. Okay, free and clear from conversation. He wants to keep mowing. I don't see Cody, but the long and short of it today is this. Functional medicine is, how do we nutshell what this is? Functional medicine is a comprehensive approach towards the way in which we treat ourselves, utilizing food as the basis and framework for our healing. And that is profound because they acknowledged what the other specialists are doing, which is largely treating and mitigating symptoms. But the one thing that pleased me the most was what the nutritionist said as she was explaining the process behind functional nutrition and how the nutrition is such a big component of functional medicine. And she spoke of root cause analysis and how we want to, I actually jotted this down. Since I'm in the driveway, I can read this. We're looking at the symptoms as a whole. And she discussed root cause, and that makes me happy because root cause was, and doing root cause analysis on all manners of things is something that my old boss Ray used to tell me. You remember me talking about Ray in past episodes. Rob, you're either growing or dying. And in all of my projects, we would do exactly that, a root cause analysis. And as it turns out, I'm taking much of the same approach to my health as I've taken in other projects in my career, and which is a sensible thing to do. So anyways, guys, that's a brief AAR on my time in the city, my time with functional medicine, and my experiences during the day. As always, you guys are definitely encouraged to join in the Telegram group, t.me/allaroundgrowth, to participate in the discussion. We've had some lively discussion over the past couple days regarding health issues and just all sorts of things. Good stuff. So check it out, t.me/allaroundgrowth. And that is it for today's show, my friends. We will be back tomorrow morning with an episode more along the lines of what we normally do. Record in the mornings and begin our day with the podcast in that way. So until then, I wish you well. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.